Howdy, folks. It's been a long time since I've done one of these. Um, but I got a massive Blu Ray collection, and I got a short storage on the phone here. So let's go ahead and roll intro. Got a massive stuff. First thing we're going to talk about is 1776. Got this at Walmart. Saw this in government class. It's a musical. It's all about the creation of the Declaration of Independence. It's kind of a satirical take on it. It's based on the Tony Award-winning musical. Funny thing is, Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World is in this playing John Adams. It's a classic movie. I encourage everyone to check it out. Yeah, 1776. Next up, I've been looking for this movie for a long time, and it just came out on Blu Ray. I've been trying to find a DVD copy of this. And it's from the creator of Jurassic Park, Michael Crichton, The Andromeda Strain. Classic sci-fi movie from the 70s. When was this made? 1971. So yeah, this was his first, one of his earlier adaptations into movies. He didn't direct it. Robert Wise directed this. But yeah, it's amazing what they could get by with a G rating back then. Next up, we got The Big Country, starring Gregory Peck, Gene Simmons, Carol Baker, Charlton Heston, and Burl Ives, which was a United Artists film from 1958. It was a year before William Wyler would go on to do Ben-Hur. Now, I know I have several other copies of this, but to me, this is probably the best version I own of this movie, and it's The Black Stallion, directed by Carol Ballard. Has Mickey Rooney, Terry Garr, Hoyt Axton. I've talked about this movie before. Stunning remasterization by Criterion, and even has a little bit of swag with it. Yeah, so how cool is that? And I'm really glad that Criterion picked this title up. There's some other titles I wish they would pick up as well. But, yeah, that deserves to be on the list. Next up, we got Tom Hanks and The Burbs from the late 1980s. 1989, directed by Joe Dante. Produced by... who was it? No, it's from Imagine Entertainment, so it was Ron Howard was involved. Next up, we got Sylvester Stallone in Bullet to the Head, which I've never seen, heard mixed things about it. Directed by Walter Hill. Next up, we got John Wayne in Cahill, United States Marshal on Blu Ray. This was fairly cheap. It was around 4th of July. They released a lot of John Wayne films excuse me, on Blu Ray. Here's another Criterion I've been waiting for since it was announced, and it's Francois Truffaut's Day for Night, I always wanted to see this movie. Um, yeah, it's all about. It's kind of a look at him making movies. It's essentially about himself. Next up, I've got Denzel Washington in Deja Vu, which is Jerry Bruckheimer, Tony Scott film. I think one of the last Tony Scott films. I'm not quite sure. I think I got this at FYE. Next up, I added to the Divergent collection with Insurgent. The nice lenticular cover there. I've actually yet to watch either one of the films. I've heard nothing but good things, especially if you're a Hunger Games fan. I've heard that some people think that that one's better. Next up, I got Do You Believe, which is the follow-up film from the creators of God's Not Dead. I've seen bits and pieces of this, and I really liked what I saw. So, but I have yet to watch the whole thing. But I loved God's Not Dead. I basically went on and on about God's Not Dead, and I thought that was the best thing since sliced bread. Next up, I Know Because He's Dead. 8 Below, starring Paul Walker. Disney film from 2005, I believe. 2005, 2006. And it's directed by Spielberg collaborator Frank Marshall. Yeah, it's based on a true story about these sled dogs lost in the Antarctic Circle, making their way back. Next up, added to the Vacation series with European Vacation. Probably one of the least favorite of the Vacation movies. I think you would have to rank them Christmas Vacation, then Vacation, then this, then Vegas Vacation. But yeah, still fun, still funny watch. Next up, upgraded my copy of Flags of Our Fathers with a nice 2-disc edition. Another Clint Eastwood movie this one's about World War II. I also have the companion piece to this movie, which is Letters from Iwo Jima. So you get this one, and then you get Letters from Iwo Jima, which is like the other side. Because this one was about the Americans, Letters from Iwo Jima was about the Japanese. Yeah, really, really good film. There's some things in there I wish it would a little bit better, but yeah, really good film. Next up, we got the Mel Brooks movie History of the World Part 1, which is his spoof on epic movies of the 50s and 60s, especially biblical epics and Roman epics. Now, the next two are the extended editions of the Hobbit movies. So here's An Unexpected Journey, and here's The Desolation of Smaug. Waiting on Battle of the Five Armies, which surprised everybody by getting an R rating, including myself, because I don't know how much more violent how violent could it be? I guess we'll find out, huh? I can't remember if I've shown this one or not, but it's Larry the Cable Guy Health Inspector on DVD. Yeah, I saw this in the theater when it originally played, and of course we all laughed and thought it was funny. Critics hated it, but you know, Larry the Cable Guy was a popular comedian. He was really red hot at the time. I think he still is, but he was really taking off, and so this was the you'd say the pinnacle of his career. Next up, added to the Little House on the Prairie series with season 6. Not sure when season 7's going to come out, but I'll be watching for that. And of course, I ordered that off Amazon. That's the only way I can get the Blu-rays to that. Walmart won't carry, they only carry the DVD. Next up is the Criterion Make Way for Tomorrow, which is by Leo McCarey, who was known for making comedies at the time. Some of his more famous movies was Duck Soup with the Marx Brothers. This one was a failure on his part, basically because this is a sad, depressing movie. There's no lightheartedness, and a lot of people were turned off. They said, "Oh my gosh, how can you make that such dribble?" They said that was terrible. Next up, I've already talked about this in the movie review episode, and it's Mad Max Fury Road with Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy, who did an excellent job as Max. A great movie, great action flick. Upgraded my copy of The Neverending Story 2, the next chapter. The picture quality is not that great, but it is a step above the DVD. You're going from, the transfer is VC1, so there's not much you can expect. And stuff's falling down. Next up is Nightcrawler, which I kind of griped about. I liked the movie. It was just about AMC Movie Talk I was really complaining about. So, if people really want to judge me on what I said, I had nothing against Nightcrawler. I had something against AMC Movie Talk, or in AMC theaters, in that matter. But yeah, great movie. It's not. Sorry, I'm trying to straighten my stuff up. But it's something that, if you did in real life, you could probably get arrested for. So I would not recommend doing what he does in that movie entirely. Next up, added to Person of Interest, was Season 4. I love this show. It's a really good show. People are wondering when the show's going to end. I'd almost say it probably has a couple more seasons left. Then they'll probably start looking at closing the show down. Okay, next up is probably considered to be one of the... And I'm not a big horror guy at all. I don't like horror movies, to be honest with you. But the remake proves a point that we don't need to make remakes with CGI. And what am I talking about? The original Poltergeist. Directed by Tobe Hooper, produced by Steven Spielberg. Great effects in this movie. It's a huge special effects extravaganza. It just blows your mind what they were able to pull off using real stuff. And with stop motion animation and models, and actually using special effects, tipping a house upside down to create the illusion that someone's being rolled on the ceiling. And yeah, it's just stuff that you would never do today. It's got to be CGI, and it doesn't need to be CGI, guys. I mean, look at this and to see the practical effects and how they work to an advantage. I mean, yeah, you can't go wrong. Next up, produced by Michael Bay, it's Project Almanac. Not very good. Not very good. I think this movie had so much potential with it, but just bad follow through. Next up is the Thomas Jane, John Travolta, The Punisher. For those people that said that there's no way that you can make a R-rated comic book movie, what was this? And it was produced by Marvel. So was Blade Trinity. I rest my case. Next up, we got a couple more Criterions. Here's The Rose with Bette Midler, directed by Mark Rydell. It was supposed to be originally the Janis Joplin story, but they couldn't get the rights to Janis Joplin's music or her image, so they ended up making that movie instead, which is about a fictitious character. Then there's Don Siegel's film Riot in Cell Block 11, which is the one that kind of put him on the map as a director. Yeah, interesting movie. I thought this was a movie that inspired Johnny Cash to write Folsom Prison Blues, but no, that's another movie. But yeah, here's Riot in Cell Block 11. Again, more John Wayne stuff. Here's the Train Robbers. Next up is The Truman Show with Jim Carrey. When I first saw this, I didn't really care for it, to be honest with you. And everybody loves this movie. I didn't really care for it to begin with, because I thought it was going to be, at the time, I thought it was going to be another Jim Carrey comedy. You know, he's going to be slapstick and goofy. Turns out, no, it's kind of a dark comedy. It's against who Jim Carrey was usually playing at the time, and it's really kind of sick and disturbing when you think about it. You know, why would you trap a man into a studio for his whole life and expect him to and just watch his every move? Stupid. Now next up is The Wonder Years Season 3, put out by Star Vista Entertainment. You know, these really took off, and they've been selling ever since. When The Wonder Years first season first came out, it was really cheap. Now the price has gone up significantly, because I think the popularity has gone up. You know, people really love this show. Yeah, The Wonder Years. Next up, we got Furious 7 for the Fast and the Furious collection. Probably going to be the last one. Not quite sure about that. Then there's Earthquake with Charlton Heston, Ava Gardner, George Kennedy, Lauren Green, Richard Roundtree. One of Universal's big disaster flicks. Came out in 1974. Next up, I upgraded my copy of Anchorman. This, of course, is the unrated version, but I've seen the unrated version, and not that big of a difference, really. Um, it's just the version that would put it rated R, but it didn't really add too much. Next up, I have the first movie. Here's the sequel, Species 2. I don't think this will ever come out on Blu Ray, just because it's down in popular. It's not as popular as what the first one was, and the first one didn't get that great of a transfer, but this is just a regular MGM DVD. My stuff goes falling again. Next up, we got Chappie, the latest film from Neil Blomkamp. I have yet to watch this. To me, it just kind of looked like a rated R version of Short Circuit, but I could be wrong. Next up, we got Pitch Perfect 2. I really enjoyed the first Pitch Perfect, even though it's a chick flick, but who cares? Don't revoke my man card, please. Next, we got Selma, which is produced by, which is the film about Dr. Martin Luther King, and has Oprah Winfrey in it. And I couldn't name you the David Aloyo, I believe that's his name, playing Dr. King. Next up, I've been looking for this DVD in a little while. This will not be coming to Blu-ray, unfortunately, through Disney, because Disney does not own a print of this, and all they have is the theatrical print that was shown, the film that actually played in a theater. They don't have a master print, and that's The Brave Little Toaster. Movie we used to watch as kids. Just fell in love with it, and this was actually made during a time when the Disney animators were actually laid off from the studio, and so they said, hey, let's just put our time to use and actually make a movie. So they made The Brave Little Toaster, and it was released by Disney under their Hyperion name, which is their book publishing company, but it says Hyperion Pictures. But it's still released by Disney. Now, the next two things are box sets. Remember how I got the Hobbit Extended Edition? Well, I had to get the Lord of the Rings Extended Edition. And everyone's seen this. Anyone that's a film collector, they have this in their collections, and it's massive. Just a massive, collection with all kinds of information and swag about it. Of course, I still keep my theatrical cuts. I'm not getting rid of those. Now, the last thing I'm really kind of happy about, even though some of the movies I'm double dipping on, but I got this very, very cheap. This usually runs at $75, I'm gonna say. It's the Superman Anthology. Got this for $30. Has all five of the Superman movies minus Man of Steel. But it has, it has Superman the movie, it has the Christopher Reeve movies, and it has the one with directed by Bryan Singer. 1978 to 2006. It has Superman 1, the theatrical version, and it has the extended edition of that. Then there's Superman 2, the theatrical cut, then the Richard Donner cut. And then, of course, there's Superman 3 and 4, the original theatrical cuts. And it has Superman Returns. And there's a bonus disc in here. Every single one of the discs are loaded with features. It even has the original Max Fleischer cartoon shorts, which was really exciting to see because I remember one of them in particular I used to watch all the time. But all of those are on here. Even it talks, there's a huge documentary that was produced by Bryan Singer. It's in here. It has the film that introduced George Reeves as Superman in a theatrical motion picture. It's in here. It's just loaded with all kinds of features. If you see this at a decent price, pick it up. It's well worth it. Even though Superman 3 and 4 are cheesy, it's worth alone just on the swag that's in here. Just all the bonus content. Trust me, if you're remotely a Superman movie fan, this would be an awesome addition to your collection. Trust me. Wait, what is this? Different clothes? It's because I forgot several of them that I had them over there, and they were out of my sight. So, and these were quite important. First one, I just got this yesterday, and it's Good Will Hunting. So, just thought I'd just go ahead and throw that one in. It's Good Will Hunting. Picked it up at Barnes & Noble. Now, there's 4 I completely forgot about because I showed that Superman box set. I completely forgot to show off these. We have these 4 comic book editions of DC animated movies. First off, we have The Death of Superman, which features the animated film Superman Doomsday, which comes like that, but it comes with the original comic book and a nice, like something you would, the type of packaging that would be in a digibook, but just taller. And you have the original graphic novel. And this would be the famous Death of Superman issue. So, yeah, there's that. And it also comes with the digital version along with the digital version of the movie. Next one is Batman Black and White, which has the film, what is it? Batman Gotham Knight. And again, just a nice hardcover version of the graphic novel. Then we have Batman Year One, in which, again, it's Batman Year One with the film. Now this is, again, these are the animated films that they've had come out in recent years. And then finally we got Justice League Volume 1 Origin, and the film is Justice League War. Again, they all come with digital copy codes for both the film and the graphic novel. Yeah, they're nice hardcover digibooks. Now, that being said, hold on just one second. Being said, I already have the film of Batman The Dark Knight Returns. Well, they haven't, unfortunately they have not put that out in one of these editions. But I was at Barnes & Noble the other day, and they had 20% off. Members could take 20% off anything in the store, plus an additional 20% off any Batman related stuff. So I saw this on the table, had to get it. The Dark Knight Returns graphic novel. 20% off, so it was really more like 40% off with this graphic novel. And you see how it all ends up. It's in paperback, but yeah, looking forward. And I'm not a big comic book reader. You know, I enjoy the movies mostly. Yeah, looking forward to that stuff. So yeah, there's the massive haul. So don't know what I'm gonna do next. But from me to you, see you later.